Steven, how are you, buddy?
All right.
Let me ask you a few more questions.
I had nothing to say without my attorney.
You don't want to hear what we have? Yeah. All right.
I want my attorney.
Macon, Georgia, June 30th, 2011. A summer morning that looks like any other. Outside a quiet apartment complex, a young man stands in front of a news camera. He looks concerned, troubled even. The kind of person who just wants answers about what happened to his missing neighbor. He speaks calmly, carefully, every word measured, and then the reporter stops him. A body has been found. Right here, on the property. Watch what happens next. His face changes. Something shifts behind his eyes. His legs buckle beneath him, and he asks to sit down on the ground. The reporter assumes he is devastated. The cameras assume he is shocked. But here is the thing. This man was not surprised. He was not grieving. He knew exactly where that body was, because 4 days earlier, in the dark, in the silence of a sleeping apartment, he had put it there. This is the story of Lauren Giddings, a 27-year-old woman who had spent years working toward a future that was finally within reach, and the man who had been living next door to her, watching her, planning, waiting, while she had no idea he existed in that way at all. Stay with me, because this story is one you will not forget. This video covers the real-life murder of Lauren Giddings. Some details discussed are disturbing in nature. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. This story is presented with the utmost respect for Lauren and her family. Her name was Lauren Teresa Giddings, born on April 18, 1984, in Tacoma Park, Maryland, the eldest of 3 sisters and the first person in her entire family to ever set foot on a college campus. Let that sink in for a moment. Not just the first lawyer, the first to go to college at all. That single detail tells you everything you need to know about who Lauren was, about the kind of drive that lived inside her from the very beginning. She grew up in a close, warm family. Her parents Billy and Karen, and her 2 younger sisters Caitlin and Sarah. A family that poured everything into watching their oldest girl reach for something bigger, and Lauren never took that for granted. Not for a single day. She was the kind of person people gravitate toward without fully understanding why. Magnetic without trying to be. The kind of friend who made everyone around her feel like the most important person in the room. Her friends called her Elle Woods. And honestly, it fit. Golden hair, always dressed in pink, carrying her little dog Butterbean wherever she went. She had that same unstoppable energy. That same belief that the world was full of possibilities. But Lauren was so much more than the way she looked or how she made people laugh. She was sharp, deeply ambitious, and driven by something that went beyond personal success. She wanted to be a criminal defense attorney. Not for the money or the prestige, but because she genuinely wanted to fight for people who had no one else in their corner. Her mother once said that Lauren's love for people was exactly what drew her to that path. She liked to befriend the quiet ones, the overlooked ones, the people that others walked right past. One of her classmates said it perfectly. People who maybe others made fun of in school. Lauren would be friends with them, and not because she felt sorry for them, but because she saw the good in every person. She attended Agnes Scott College near Atlanta, where she majored in political science, played softball, worked as a waitress to help pay her way, and still maintained the kind of grades that kept her academic scholarships intact. She put everything into everything she did. In 2008, she packed up her life in Maryland and drove south to Macon, Georgia, to begin her journey at Mercer University School of Law. And from the moment she arrived, she flourished. She became president of the school's Federalist Society, built a circle of friends so deep and so loyal that one of them later said Lauren was the glue that held them all together. She interned at the Bibb County Public Defender's Office during her 3rd year, and by every account she poured herself into even the smallest cases. Because to her, no case was too small if a real person was on the other side of it. Spring 2011, Lauren Teresa Giddings walked across that graduation stage and received her law degree, the first in her family. The girl from Tacoma Park. She had done it. Her family had made the trip to Macon to watch her do it. And just 1 week later her sister Caitlin got married. with Lauren right there beside her, glowing, celebrating, present for every single moment. It would be the last time the whole family was together. After the wedding, Lauren returned to Macon, settled back into her apartment at Barrister's Hall, and locked in for the final stretch. The Georgia bar exam was weeks away. She was so close she could almost touch it. On Friday, June 24th, she went out with her closest friends for one last night of celebration before the real grind began. Laughing, dancing, completely at ease. A woman standing right on the edge of everything she had worked for her entire life. She had no idea that just one floor away, behind a door she had walked past 1,000 times, someone had been watching her for years and had already decided what he was going to do. Now picture the man living right on the other side of that wall. Stephen McDaniel arrived at Mercer Law School in the fall of 2008, the exact same semester as Lauren. On his application to the school, he had described himself as level-headed, down-to-earth, a dreamer and a thinker with a highly competitive drive. He wrote about his ambition to one day become a federal judge. On paper, he looked like any other determined young law student with big plans and a clear vision for his future. But in person, something was different. He was odd in a way that was hard to ignore, deeply reclusive, the kind of person who kept the world at a distance and seemed uncomfortable whenever it got too close. He and Lauren knew each other. They were both members of the school's Federalist Society. She led it as president. He served as vice president. Their paths crossed regularly. At some point in those early years, he asked her out. She said no, gently, kindly. The way Lauren did everything, she continued to be friendly to him when they passed each other on the stairs, continued to treat him the way she treated everyone, with basic human decency, but privately she told people he unsettled her. He gave her the creeps. She had no idea just how right that instinct was, because behind the closed door of his apartment, something deeply disturbing had been taking shape for a very long time. At some point, McDaniel had gotten hold of a master key to the building, a key that gave him silent, unrestricted access to every single apartment in that complex. Whenever he wanted, day or night, he had been using it. He had slipped into neighboring apartments undetected, moving things, taking small personal items, learning what he could get away with, and he had been watching Lauren. He constructed a makeshift surveillance tool, a long wooden pole with a camera duct taped to the end, and used it to hold up outside her window at night, filming her inside her own home without her knowledge. The footage on his devices painted the picture of an obsession that had been growing for years. Her movements, her routines, her daily life, all of it recorded, studied, cataloged. He had searched her name online hundreds of times, her social media pages, her professional profiles, sometimes pulling up images of her at the exact same moment he was searching for violent and disturbing material. He had talked to people, even written online, about his fantasy of committing the perfect murder, and he had been doing more than fantasizing. On Father's Day weekend of 2011, just weeks before Lauren's death, McDaniel visited a sprawling piece of wooded land owned by his grandfather in Pike County. He was not there for a family visit. He was there scouting locations, identifying spots deep in the woods where he could scatter body parts so they would never be found. He had also been spotted at a retail store examining boat anchors. He did not own a boat. This was not a man who snapped in a moment of rage. This was a man with a blueprint, a man who had been building toward this for years. And Lauren Giddings, kind, generous Lauren who saw the good in everyone, was living right next door to him. By the evening of June 25, 2011, Lauren was back in her apartment. The celebration was over. The studying had to begin. The bar exam was just weeks away and she had a future to build. She sat down and wrote an email to her boyfriend. In it, she mentioned something that had been bothering her. The night before, Thursday, June 23rd, she thought someone had tried to break into her apartment, but she downplayed it the way a lot of us do when something scares us and we don't want to believe it. She told him it was probably nothing, just the wrong kind of people wandering around the area, but something had been unsettling her for weeks before that email. She had noticed things in her apartment that weren't quite right, items that seemed slightly out of place. A feeling she couldn't shake that someone had been inside her space when she wasn't there. She had mentioned it to people close to her. She had felt it. She just didn't know how to explain it. She was right about all of it. In the early morning hours of June 26, 2011, while Lauren slept, Stephen McDaniel used his stolen master key to quietly let himself into her apartment. He wore a mask and gloves. He stood over her in the darkness of her bedroom and watched her sleep, but as he moved closer, the bed creaked beneath her. Lauren's eyes opened. She saw him standing there in the dark, and she told him to get out. He didn't. He attacked her immediately, grabbing her by the throat, strangling her with his bare hands. She fought back, hard, with everything she had, but he did not stop. Lauren Teresa Giddings, 27 years old, the first in her family to graduate college, weeks away from becoming the criminal defense attorney she had given everything to become, was gone. What happened next is something her family has had to live with every single day since. McDaniel left her apartment and returned home. The following night he came back, this time with a hacksaw. He dismembered her body in her own bathtub. Using his stolen master key, he accessed the empty apartment one floor below and used the refrigerator inside it to store her remains while he figured out what to do next. Over the following hours, he placed her body parts into trash cans scattered across the area. Her torso, wrapped carefully in plastic, was left in a bin just outside their apartment building. He had planned all of this. He had scouted the woods, researched the methods, rehearsed this moment in his mind over and over again, and now he was counting on one final thing to make it all disappear: the garbage trucks. He believed that within days, the evidence would be gone, collected and buried in a landfill somewhere, and Lauren Giddings would simply become a missing person case that quietly faded away. He believed he had gotten away with it. He was wrong. If you believe that monsters like this deserve to spend every single day behind bars, drop a comment below that says justice for Lauren. Let her family know the world has not forgotten her.
Yeah, Lauren was my neighbor. We're just trying to find out where she is at this point. I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday. I mean, the last time anyone heard from her was an email that she sent out, and no one's heard from her since.
Did you see her hang out with anyone at the time or anything like that?
I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday. I haven't seen anything. I mean, you always hear noise outside, but it's just people walking by pretty much. I mean, she's as nice as can be. I mean, very personable, very much a people person.
Do you know anybody any enemies she might have had, somebody that might want to hurt her?
No, I mean, we don't know where she is. I mean, the only thing we can think is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her. Because, I mean, we went over, one of her friends had a key, we went inside and tried to see if there was anything amiss, but, I mean, she had a door jamb that was sitting right by it, so there was no sign that anyone broke in. I mean, the door was locked when everyone got here.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? I mean, we don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like, they took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's why we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
Lauren had told everyone the same thing before going quiet. She was going to put her head down, focus entirely on studying for the bar exam, and she would be in touch when she came up for air. So at first, the silence made sense. Nobody panicked on day 1 or day 2. They assumed she was doing exactly what she said she would do. But by June 29th, for days after anyone had last seen her, the silence stopped feeling normal. Her sister Caitlin had not received a single text, not one call, nothing. She reached out to Lauren's friends and heard the same thing from every single one of them. Nobody had heard from her either. Caitlin's unease turned into dread. She contacted Lauren's friend Ashley, and together they went to the apartment. They knocked. No answer. Ashley knew where Lauren kept a spare key. She used it, and they stepped inside. What they found stopped them cold. Lauren's purse was there, her keys, her laptop, her ID. Everything a person would take with them if they were leaving was still sitting right there in that apartment. But Lauren was not. Her car was untouched in the parking lot outside. She had not gone anywhere. Something was very wrong. Police were called immediately. The building was secured, and a search of the property began. Then came the smell. A detective moving through the summer air outside the complex caught something foul drifting on the breeze. The kind of smell that is impossible to mistake once you have encountered it. He followed it. It led him to a trash bin just steps away from the apartment building. Inside, wrapped in a plastic sheet, was Lauren's torso. And here is the detail that makes the story even harder to sit with. The garbage truck had been running late that day. Late by just enough time for investigators to get there first. Had it arrived on schedule, that bin would have been emptied. The evidence would have been gone. And Stephen McDaniel's plan might have worked exactly the way he designed it. Minutes. That is all that stood between justice and a cold case. Investigators moved back inside Lauren's apartment and began processing every inch of it. In the bathroom, they applied luminol to the bathtub. The entire tub lit up. Wall to wall, top to bottom, glowing in the darkness, telling the story of everything that had happened in that room in silence.
County has volunteered to help in the search for the remains of murdered Mercer grad Lauren Giddings. Macon police are following several leads in the case, but so far have no official suspects. Giddings' neighbor, 25-year-old Stephen McDaniel, remains in jail tonight on unrelated burglary charges. Police continue to gather statements from students and neighbors in what they're calling a detailed.
While investigators were processing the scene just steps away, Stephen McDaniel was standing outside in front of a news camera, calm, composed, playing the role of the devastated friend who just wanted to know what happened to his neighbor. He spoke carefully, his voice steady, his expression arranged into something that looked like concern. He had done everything right. He thought. The body was in the trash. The garbage trucks were coming. And here he was establishing himself publicly as just another worried face in the crowd. And then the reporter stopped him. Remains had been found on the property. Watch what happens to his face in that moment. The composure cracks. His body goes with it. His legs buckle underneath him. And he says, "Body, I think I need to sit down." The garbage trucks had been late. His plan had just collapsed. Live on camera. In front of the entire world. That video spread everywhere. Millions of people watched a man's carefully constructed performance fall apart in real time the moment he realized the one thing he had counted on to protect him had failed. Detectives had already noted something was off about him. Now they had all the confirmation they needed. That same night McDaniel was brought in for questioning. And what happened in that interrogation room was just as chilling as everything that came before it. He sat in near total silence for hours, barely speaking, barely moving, staring into nothing like a person who had already gone somewhere else inside his own mind. Detectives pressed him, asked questions, waited. He gave them almost nothing. At some point during the questioning, detectives noticed something, fresh scratch marks on his stomach. He told them he must have scratched himself in his sleep. Then came the moment that began to unravel him from the inside out. McDaniel mentioned to investigators that he was a virgin, but a search of his apartment had already turned up unused condoms. Detectives confronted him about it. The room got very quiet, and McDaniel admitted that he had broken into neighboring apartments and stolen them. It was enough. He was taken into custody on burglary charges while investigators kept building the case that everyone in that room already knew was coming. If what this man did disgusts you, hit that subscribe button and stay with this channel. Every story we tell here is told for the victims who deserve to be remembered.
All right. I just got to ask you a few more questions.
Okay.
You came down earlier tonight, me and you talked, all right. You don't have any weapons on you, do you?
No.
That's just you are. What's wrong? You know I'm Detective Patterson, right?
Yes.
Do you remember? Put your hands up here. You remember us talking? I need to know about this girl right here.
You know her?
Yes.
Who is that?
Lauren Giddings.
Does she live next door to you?
Yes.
Okay. Look at me when you talk to me, son. Okay? Was you friends with her?
Yes.
I'm asking you for help. I need your help. Can you help me?
I don't know.
You don't know if you can help me?
Yes.
I need your help. Help me out. Tell me what to do.
There were inconsistencies with what he was saying, and he was reluctant to answer things. It was mainly yes, no, or I don't know.
What do you think happened to her?
I don't know.
Do you even care that no one can find her? I mean, I don't know, do you?
Yes.
Well, you know there was a body found in the trash can next to the apartments.
Yes.
And it's a female, white female's body, right next to y'all's apartment. We don't know 100% sure it's Lauren, but we're pretty confident it is. I mean, who would do something to somebody and throw them in a trash can?
I don't know.
And you know why we've been working all day trying to find Lauren, right?
Yes.
Because her family wants to know where she's at.
Yes.
And I don't know what to tell her family. So I'm asking you, what do I need to tell her family?
I don't know.
It's all on you, brother. What do you want me to tell her family? Huh?
I don't know.
Your ass on that fucking news and stood out there and gave a media report that her mother saw. You sure stood out there and ran your mouth to the news media, but now you're gonna get out here and you don't fucking know. You're just a sorry piece of shit that don't give a fuck.
Why would you not be honest with me?
I am being honest.
Stephen, it just doesn't feel like it, buddy. You know, I get the sense that there's something weighing heavy on your heart right now. Stephen, did you hurt Lauren?
No.
What'd you do, buddy?
I didn't do anything.
What'd you do to Lauren?
I didn't do anything.
You're gonna look at this right here, this little girl right here, and you're gonna say you don't know? I know you know.
I don't know.
Yes, you know. What are you gonna say tomorrow when I say we got your hair with the body? I believe that you're a good guy, you've been picked on, girls didn't show you the respect that you deserved, you did something stupid, and I believe you feel bad about it, and that's why you're all freaked out right now. We want you to tell it so that way people understand you're not a monster. Things just, you got out of control. It's a sickness. Why'd you do it, Stephen?
I didn't do it.
Stephen, why are you going to...
As the investigation deepened, the evidence began to stack up in a way that left absolutely no room for doubt. Inside McDaniel's apartment, investigators found a pair of Lauren's underwear hidden in his dresser. They found 2 keys. One was a master key giving access to every apartment in the entire building. The other had been cut precisely, for Lauren's apartment alone. He had prepared for all of it. In the laundry room of the complex, investigators discovered a hacksaw tucked away out of sight. Someone had attempted to rinse it off, but they hadn't done a thorough enough job. Blood was still visible on both ends of the blade. Back in McDaniel's apartment, investigators found the original packaging for that exact hacksaw. Same brand, same size, a perfect match. DNA testing confirmed what everyone already knew. The blood on that blade was Lauren's. The luminol evidence in her bathtub was Lauren's. Every single trace led back to the same apartment, the same man, the same door, but it was the digital evidence that truly sealed everything shut. Investigators went through McDaniel's devices and found videos he had recorded himself, a camera duct taped to the end of a long wooden pole, held up high and angled directly through Lauren's window, filming her inside her own home without her knowledge. One of those videos was recorded on the night of Friday, June 24th. The very night Lauren had been out celebrating with friends. The same night she later told her boyfriend she believed someone had tried to break in. She had felt it, she had written it down, and there it was on his device. Proof that every instinct she had was absolutely right. She had known something was deeply wrong. She just never got the chance to find out how wrong. His search history told the rest of the story. Her name searched over and over again. Her social media, her professional profiles, her photographs. All of it pulled up repeatedly, obsessively. Sometimes at the exact same moment he was searching for violent and disturbing material. And then there was the recovered. The district attorney who handled the case said it plainly. It was an obsession. His dream was to commit murder and to get away with it. Every piece of evidence, every key, every trace of DNA, every video, every search, every carefully scouted location in those woods, all of it pointed to one person, and one person only. On August 2nd, 2011, Stephen McDaniel was formally charged with the first-degree murder of Lauren Giddings. He pleaded not guilty. He stood in court and looked investigators in the eye and said he did not do it, but the evidence said otherwise. And as prosecutors continued building their case, what they uncovered went far beyond the murder itself. McDaniel's devices contained child exploitation material, volumes of it, and he was charged accordingly. For nearly 3 years, the case moved through the legal system. Then, in the spring of 2014, 1 week before his trial was set to begin, Stephen McDaniel changed course. He accepted a plea deal in exchange for prosecutors setting aside the additional charges. He would plead guilty to murder and give a full written confession detailing exactly what he had done. And he did, in cold, clinical, almost emotionless detail. He described using his stolen key to enter Lauren's apartment in the early hours of June 26th. He described standing over her while she slept. He described the moment the bed creaked, her eyes opening, her seeing him there in the dark. He described what he did next without flinching. He had dreamed of committing the perfect murder, and he sat in that courtroom and narrated it like it was something he had rehearsed 1,000 times. Because he had. At sentencing, Lauren's parents stood before the court and faced the man who had taken their daughter. Her father's words were quiet, but they carried the weight of everything. He tried to extinguish Lauren's light with his darkness. He did not come close. The judge called the crime truly evil and sentenced Stephen McDaniel to life in prison. He will not be eligible for parole until 2041, but for Lauren's family, the sentencing was not the end, couldn't be, because Lauren has never fully been laid to rest. Her torso was recovered from that trash bin on June 30th, 2011, but her head, her arms, her legs have never been found. Her family has never stopped searching, reaching out to investigators, pushing for new searches of that wooded property in Pike County where McDaniel scouted locations before he ever laid a hand on her. To this day, those remains have not been recovered, and that is a weight Lauren's family carries every single morning they wake up. But Lauren lives on in other ways. A pink bench sits in a park in the heart of Macon. Placed there in her memory, a plaque at the law school she loved carries her name, and a scholarship created in her honor helps law students pay for bar preparation expenses. The very thing Lauren was working toward in the final weeks of her life. Every year people run in her memory, raising money, keeping her name alive. Her sister Caitlin said something that has stayed with everyone who heard it. She had this passion for life that a lot of people don't have. I think she lived more in those 27 years than most people do. Lauren deserved to change the world, and she would have. If the story moved you, drop a heart in the comments and share this video so her name keeps living on. She is not forgotten. Lauren Giddings did everything right. She worked harder than almost anyone around her. She was kind to everyone she met, even the quiet, strange neighbor who made her uncomfortable. She treated him with the same decency she gave everybody else, and it still wasn't enough to protect her. That is perhaps the hardest part of this story to sit with, because there is no lesson here about what Lauren should have done differently. There is nothing she missed, nothing she could have changed. The most chilling thing about what happened to her is not just the crime itself. It is how long it had been building. Right on the other side of her wall, in silence, in the dark, while she went about her life completely unaware. A man who smiled at her on the stairs had been planning her murder for years, and the only reason the world ever found out, the only reason Stephen McDaniel is sitting in a prison cell right now, is because a garbage truck ran a few minutes late on one ordinary summer morning. Minutes, that is how close this came to disappearing forever. Lauren never got to stand in a courtroom and fight for someone who had no one else. She never got to become the public defender she had given everything to be. She never got to see what her life would have looked like on the other side of that bar exam. But her name lives on, in a pink bench, in a scholarship, in the people who loved her and refused to let the world forget who she was. Rest easy, Lauren. You deserve so much more.